Time's up. Have your own.
Here it comes.
Chevron 1, coded.
For my ally is the Force, and the powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow.
You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Cry hammer, and let's set the dogs of war.
Chevron 2 is coded.
Conan, what is best in life? Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, to hear the lamentation of your women.
It's on the reflexes.
Paul also said you're heavy into martial arts, Tai Chi and all that killer stuff.
I suppose we have to register you as a lethal weapon.
Chevron 3 encoded.
And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
Chevron 4 encoded.
Do you expect me to talk? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Chevron 5 encoded.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Chevron 6 encoded.
Not for while you can, monk boy.
Great Scott!
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
You shall not pass!
I thought I'd die fighting side by side with an elf.
What about side by side with a friend?
A day may come when the courage of men fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Chevron 7 is locked.
Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Saturday afternoon drive-in, because we're a little earlier today. Either way, we're happy to have you with us here as we round out Halloween month. People sometimes call it the spooky season, with a movie called 13 Ghosts, which I'll say I reacted to a little bit better than I thought I would since last time I saw it. Jed, how are you today? Are you in the season? I don't know.
Yes, I am in the season. Halloween is just around the corner, and I unfortunately plan on spending it watching The Witcher Season 4, so that is dampening my holiday spirit.
That means I watch it too, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can delay watching it, watch it the day before. There's just so much of it that I know that it's going to eke into Halloween just a little bit, so fortunately there's going to be...
It is a horror movie. It's a horror to watch.
It is a horror to watch. I don't think it's a horror show like it's intended to be with monsters and whatnot, but it is a horror to watch for anyone who has any taste. Yeah. I'm going to be blunt about that. If you have taste, it's a horror show to watch. But we're here talking about an actually spooky movie, and I think we're going to have a great discussion.
I mean, I thought, I'm going to be honest, I thought that I didn't remember it being as good as it was. I've seen it a few times. If for some reason, if like this thing's going to be tacky, hacky, slacky, schlocky. No, it's actually a well-made movie with a very good cast, and the practical effects for the makeup. Those ghosts, dude. Those are some. I either way, however we felt about this season of spooky season of movies we've covered for this month, one thing has been consistent. We have been very praising of all the practical effects we've had in all those movies, and this one. Honestly, I think this one is the best one so far this season. I mean, not counting The Thing. That's a different kind of category. That's its own level of horror.
It's the best experimental for us because you knew The Thing was going to be great. So
and that's body horror. This is practical makeups to make ghosts look disturbed and messed up. And all 13, even though you don't get to see a lot of the all 12 of the ghosts a lot. When you see them, that's some great work. It's some fantastic work. So this is, I think, maybe the fourth or fifth time I've seen this movie now, all the way through. I don't think I've ever actually seen it from the very beginning. I caught it at certain points every time I've watched it. This is the first time I caught it from the very beginning. And as I said, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I thought we were going to have a let's tear this thing to shreds competition, and from the sound of it, I think we're going to have just a nice, good, solid discussion about a decently made horror flick. How are you feeling?
I agree with that. I was pleasantly surprised with this film. The way that you posed it to me is that it might be kind of a dumb fun, that I wouldn't like it, but it might be, not offensively bad or anything like that. That's the expectation I went into it with, and it was fun. Like, it's not a blowout success. It's not a film that I'm going to watch every year or anything like that, or rate super highly, but I enjoyed pretty much every aspect of the film. There's nothing that I thought was egregiously bad. Maybe boring in some elements.
Couple moments, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple moments, but there's not a whole lot of outright flaws in it.
It's a movie that knows exactly what it was. We haven't used that phrase in a while. This movie knew exactly what it was there to do. An hour and a half, no B plots, no C plots, just a simple A plot with some very light character work, yet very good performances from Tony Shalhoub, even though he's barely in it. I love F. Murray Abraham. I love him in movies. He's great. And everybody else and Matthew Lillard is the standout, I think. He's really,
always the standout.
Yeah, he did a great job. And out of everybody, he has, as small it is, he has an actual character development arc from the movie, which gets some really good, if not predictable, payoff, considering the buildup. And of course, they actually did veer away from the stereotype. The black lady doesn't die. She actually inadvertently saves everybody by record skipping when she's playing with the dials, which is a little hokey, but it's pulled off very well. So what we have here, this is 13 Ghosts. What was the year? 2001. 2001, starring Tony Shalhoub, F. Murray Abraham, Shannon Elizabeth, off being hot in American Pie. So that's what she was there for eye candy, but not to take her titties out. That was left to the ghost with the very bouncy mauled fake titties.
It was clearly a prosthetic. It was obvious, yeah. Unfortunately.
But it's basically what you have here is a simple, slight horror movie. There's a few jump scares here and there, but it's mostly for them, not for us. I mean, I didn't go at any point when I watched it. But we have a man, Tony Shalhoub, a math teacher who suffered a tragedy where his house caught on fire. And I'm going to ask you a question about that. Now, once you understand how the movie plays out, I'm going to ask you a question.
I think I can predict the question.
Yeah, they don't actually touch on it, but with the evidence of the movie, I think yes, but I'll wait to ask the question when we get that. So a fire, he has a tragedy at his home where there's a fire and the home burns down. And at one point, because when they're all trying to escape, his wife gets left in there and gets critically burned and then dies while in the hospital. So he is suffering, essentially, he's a broken man. He's a broken man, not a strong man. That's the thing. And that's the interesting thing that Tony Shalhoub, what he does very well, when Tony Shalhoub could do it, he can play a broken man very well. Just go watch Monk. That's 5 seasons of a broken man. But you have Tony Shalhoub, and he got his 2 kids. One played by Shannon Elizabeth, who she's probably the weakest part of this movie.
Yeah.
Her character,
I think both kids are pretty weak.
The kid is the son is annoying as fuck. That child actor is annoying as fuck, but he's not. Once you get into the meat of the movie, they kind of get removed in the beginning of the second act, which is good. Removing the kids from the second act until the climactic moment in the third was a good call because they are part of the drags of the movie. Point is, so he's got these 2 kids. He's hired a nanny who's obnoxious as fuck, stereotypical obnoxious black woman. She's there for comic relief, but doesn't quite pull it off. That's one of the drains on the movie. She doesn't quite pull that off. And essentially, we learn that in the prologue, his uncle Cyrus, played by F. Murray Abraham, was hunting ghosts for reasons not made clear till second act, honestly. And he has hired Matthew Lillard, who's a psychic, to help him trap the ghosts, and essentially he appears to be killed during the apprehension of the 12th ghost, which I believe was the Juggernaut. And then he leaves his house to his nephew, who he didn't really know and has no respect for, and his family, and it's all a trap to bring them to this house where, as we learn, and we're going to skip ahead here because I will say this, I don't want your opinion on this. The movie does a really good job of giving you information when it's needed. Is that fair to say? It doesn't just expo dump. It tells you the stuff when it's needed without dragging it out. Is that fair to say?
Oh, 100%. The exposition is one of the best things about this film, and the world building in general. That's what I love about it. It was fascinating. With the way that they set up hunting ghosts in the prologue, I was already invested. These are rules that are clear. They made sense. They don't straight up until late in the first act, maybe even in the second act, say specifically, these glasses let you see ghosts. They let you figure that out through context clues, and it's very obvious. And the only exposition dump that I can really think of is the end of the second act, beginning of the third act, when the woman breaks into the house and shows them all the book and starts telling them about the ghost. But that's integrated very well because they obviously need to know that information at that time, and all those details are very specific details. So it never feels like we're being lectured. I never get the moment of, as you know, or anything like that, which are just the worst ways to incorporate exposition. And even the prologue does a great job about it with, what do you mean 13 ghosts? What do you mean 13 ghosts? And having Matthew Lillard's character be a little bit out of the loop from what Cyrus is doing makes it a good vehicle when the nephew isn't around to be the vehicle for the audience and getting exposition. I think it's all very solid. Yeah, that's how I describe this movie in general. It's solid. It is so solid. And the fact that they were able to spend 80-90% of the movie in one house is it's practically a bottle episode, a bottle movie. And they do a great way of doing it. I thought there'd be a lot more going on. I'd figured they'd have to go do research, Winchester style, get some background of the house or the ghosts or anything like that, but it's all self-contained. And one reason why that works so well is because the set is incredible. Yeah. I love that house, the way it's designed.
It's fascinating. A house that is completely transparent, yet you still feel closed in the entire time.
Claustrophobic transparency is a hard thing to get right. And while you're speaking of exposition, there were so many times that we just got camera shots of exposition. We got camera shots of what the house was doing in response to different actions. And they did a great way of showing, hey, this action triggered this event. And without any dialogue, without anyone saying, hey, it's kind of weird that the floor started spinning right there in that way. They just showed like when the lawyer picks up the bag of money, you see the pedal rise up and gears start turning, and they cut to what else it's doing. It's very organic. It gives you a bird's eye view of the whole situation. So, which is always a difficult thing. Sometimes I lose suspense of a situation if I know why a character's in danger, but they don't know it themselves. And other times the opposite is true, where you're like, oh my God, it's coming. I've got to watch out for that. And this film balances that in a way that is uncommon. So, like I said, I thought this movie was so solid.
Yeah, and it's solid for, like you said, and that's why I brought it up, because I knew you'd have an excellent breakdown of how the exposition properly fills you in on these moments. Okay, now you've made it clear that this house is something weird. It's got the writing, the transparency, yet the words are kind of what makes you, the spell script is what makes you feel closed in. And then of course you see the house the walls are moving, it's shutting things down. But at the same time, you get to the point where the chick, and with the exposition tied in nicely, her exposition is also the trap, because the other ghost hunter girl who comes in with a book pretending to save, she's in on it. It's a good twist. You don't,
which I do like that, because it fills in a plot hole for me, but it also creates another one. So I am a little torn, to be honest. But the fact that she got into the house, where she's just like, oh yeah, there was an opening in the wall while it was moving, and I slipped in. Yeah. That made me feel a lot better about that, because what do you mean the window opened for a few seconds?
Yeah,
and that was bothering me, but they explained it.
Yeah, she was there the whole time. She was part of the plot. But the fact that she's there to explain that this whole house is a demonic machine meant to give whoever manages to get this devil's zodiac, as they put it, this black zodiac, put it together to allow them to see everything. It's an
past, present, and future.
Yeah. And the only thing that I think is left out is why does Cyrus want to do it, except to do it? Because
he's clear. They call him a genius with money, so it's not like he's poor.
Yeah.
Does he want to conquer the world? That would be a little too obvious, but just a little bit more, yeah.
It loses the points when he's on screen. F. Murray Abraham is brilliant as just son of a bitch. It's fantastic.
I was disappointed when he died in the prologue. I was already invested in his character, so I was very happy when he came back.
But the problem is, we don't get enough of Cyrus. We don't know his full motivation. That's where it loses a little bit of the points here. As a villain, as the actual villain, because the ghosts aren't villains.
No,
they're
victims.
They're victims too, even though the jackal is a crazy creature that's clawing up both Shannon Elizabeth and clawing up.
And the Juggernaut was a serial killer, killed 9 people while he was alive and 40 while he was dead.
So I
shouldn't have sympathy for them.
Yeah, no sympathy, but they're at this point they're natural disasters. And they're uncontrollable and unpredictable. And I really do like how it ends, though. We'll get to that in a little bit, though. But F. Murray Abraham is our villain, but we don't get the full scope of his villainy outside of how bad he is. The only thing we understand is how bad he is, how he'll manipulate everybody and use everybody to his ends. He kills his accomplice, who clearly he had a sexual relationship with. He was clearly doing her, and he ends up using her and crushing her within the house, which, again, well done prosthetics. And
the prosthetics, I don't like how that actual twist is handled, though. That's what I was mentioning before, is it just feels like her entire character changes on a dime, and she's like, oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I've done everything for you. Oh my God.
It's not enough buildup. Not enough.
Exactly.
We don't know how. We don't know how or why he has such a hold on her.
And what she gets out of it.
Yeah. Outside of, I mean, there are many things she could get out of it. The access to his knowledge, the access to everything he has, twisted love. We don't know. This is where the failing of this movie are the thin threads of the character relationships. And it's held up in the most part by great performances by Tony Shalhoub and Matthew Lillard, where they have their time together. They hold it up, but then you realize it's still, everything else is pretty thin. And again, the movie is saving that when the kids are removed, because Shannon Elizabeth's daughter, it's a really, even though it's a great aesthetic scene where the basically naked ghost chick, I forget what they called her,
the princess.
Is the princess thing. The princess, when the princess takes over the bathroom, and Shannon Elizabeth
scene.
It's a great scene, but she spends too much time doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, she repeats the motion, the slow-mo with the water being put on her face.
It's as though they didn't know what to do with her in that scene until she goes to the shower. So
the princess was great in that scene. I could see emoting beneath all those prosthetics, and I started to feel for her. It's really what made me have sympathy for the ghosts as victims.
She wasn't there. She could have aced Shannon Elizabeth there, but she just wanted to be left alone in the bathroom. That was her domain, and Shannon Elizabeth almost triggers her to react by getting into the tub, but then Tony Shalhoub shows up and pulls her out of it. But see, it's a great scene, but the small problem is because you have characters you don't know what to do with. The kids are there for a reason. They're there as the impetus to try and make Tony Shalhoub's character be the 13th ghost. That's their existence for the movie. That, and also when the little kid, the son, gets lost in the basement, to hear the mom's voice through the radio, and you don't realize, first you think, oh man, has she been haunting them this entire time? No, we get the reveal that she's one of the ghosts, the scarred widowed lover. And we learn, again, through proper information dumping in order to spur Tony Shalhoub to be the 13th ghost, that Cyrus killed her in the hospital. She might have lived. So then I asked this question, though. Do you think Cyrus set the fire in the house?
I do. I think he's way too well practiced, way too thoughtful, and he planned out everything. You can't build a house like this that is so meticulously designed with clockwork machines timing down to the exact moment, a lot of these things, without being a master planner. So I don't think he would leave anything like that to fate, because unlike a lot of the other ghosts, this ghost's creation was pivotal to its role in the machine. The 13th ghost was the only one where the scenario mattered just as much as the type of person they were, because all the other ones, it's just the type of person that they are, and then they're a ghost. But with jilted lover, whatever, the fallen lover, it had to be lost love, longing love, and the scenario of that is difficult to find organically, I think. So I fully believe that he planned it out. He recognized the love that his nephew had for his wife and realized he could take advantage of it. Planned the fire. She didn't die. Went and finished the job. Because a fire, you're not going to be able to control enough to make sure the right person dies. But afterwards, you put the pieces where they need to go. So I see him as way too well planned to respond to that. Like, I don't think he just got a phone call. It's like, hey, your nephew's wife is in the hospital.
Yeah.
Ooh, I can take advantage of this. Let me run down there and kill her real quick. No, I fully believe that he was prepared for it. But it doesn't say, because it doesn't matter, and there's not an organic way necessarily for the characters to have figured that out with how he dies.
Excellent way to put that. That's a brilliant way to put that. There is no organic way to lead them to the conversation. You set the fire, because there's no time. There's no buildup. But I think the movie does an excellent job of laying the groundwork of thinking, wait a minute. Yeah, this, as you said, the 13th ghost requires a specific chain of events, a willing sacrifice. And what better than to set it up where he not only creates the 4th ghost, the scarred, widowed lover, but then also the sacrifice moment for kids who Tony Shalhoub will do anything for his kids in this movie. So I agree. There's no way Cyrus left anything to chance. He probably set that fire, but the movie doesn't need to tell us that. I think the groundwork is there, and an intelligent viewer realizes that. So I agree.
It's a nice little thing to figure out, and I don't know if you perceive it this way, but I felt like there was a certain poetry to the magic system in this movie, with all the Latin, with the way that things worked with the psychics and the symbology of everything. There was so much symbology in the house with the roles these ghosts plays feeding into this machine and everything like that, that there could have been a thing where the connection between the 13 ghosts and the lost lover increases the power of it. Because I think there's a poetry to it, just like it's poetry, it rhymes, George Lucas style. The fact that they're connected and build a deeper emotional connection to all of this, I could see that as being a thing that he specifically sought as well.
And one of the things I again, it's been a while since I've seen this, and it's not explicitly mentioned, but I think there's definitely a theme of 7 deadly sins wrapped into the ghosts, not specifically, but it's in there, and that appeals to me because it also makes it as level to the demonic nature, the devil nature of all this stuff, as opposed to the seven virtues, which I think some of the characters represent in this. But I think it's all, like you said, it's all well laid out, and there is sort of for lack of a term, a poetry to it. The way it all nice fits together like a machine, because the house is a machine. It's a very mechanical movie in a way, where each part fits into place, and it takes the characters to drive it that way. Because a lot of this doesn't happen if Matthew Lillard's character, Dennis, I think his name was Dennis, doesn't go through his mini character arc of, first I did this for the money, and you even get once again perfect exposition dump without being forced. You're doing this for the money. You damn straight I'm doing this for money because I'm a broken, fucked up individual who comes to the contact with people and has psychic seizures. So I want to make money so I can get the fuck away from everybody. It's
exposition. They showed all that beforehand with him trying to take drugs at the very beginning and having them knocked out of his hands. Every time he touches someone, he starts seizing. He's my favorite character of the movie because he's the most fascinating. There is no heroes. There are no heroes in this movie. The dad's the closest one, but like you said at the beginning, he's a broken individual. And Matthew Lillard, he's just cursed with this gift and trying to find a way to live with it. And he's broken too. He's crying half the movie. And I found his character fascinating. I want to know more about what made him a psychic. Is this a normal thing in the universe? Is this rare? Does it apply to other things other than just ghosts and reliving people's trauma? Like they integrate it in such a fascinating way that I want more.
And his character development is great because, like you said, he's broken and he did this out of greed. But then watch his development throughout the movie. At first, he's like, "Let's just get out of here." And at one point, he says, "Forget your kids. Let's get out of here. But then he's in this brief time that they're all there, he has a change of heart because he realizes that he helped destroy this family. He helped because he was around when they captured the fourth ghost. He didn't know that it was the wife. So he feels actual literal remorse and guilt over this. So then he realizes, okay, I have to make this right. And then he does what, for lack of a better term, even though he said there are no real heroes, he does the ultimate sacrifice. He does a heroic move. When I love it when they take the window as a shield. It's
They're intelligent characters with the knowledge that they have.
Yeah. But then when he realizes, oh shit, we're trapped between the Hammer and the Juggernaut, the two most violent, three of the most violent ghosts there. Because a lot of the other, I would say at least 5 or 6 of the ghosts, they're not inherently violent. They're just there, trapped. Like the mother and the baby, mother and the son, the limbless one, the wife,
the pilgrim.
and the pilgrim, and also even the princess. She doesn't react until pushed and antagonized.
She doesn't even kill the lawyer. I mean, she's walking creepily towards him, but he kills himself on accident.
Yeah, he gets caught in the glass when goes like that,
which is a wild moment from a prosthetic standpoint.
Oh yeah, it's one of the few times where the prosthetic is visible, but it's still gory. It's excuse me. It's balanced by the gratuitous gore of it, which is on purpose. Point is though, but only the Jackal, the Hammer, and the Juggernaut are the only violent ones there. They're the only violent poltergeists there. And when he's caught between the Hammer and the Juggernaut, he says, "There's no way we can protect ourselves from both of them. So you have a family to take care of. Go save your kids. I'm going to take this one." And he dies brutally, but then predictably, he's going to become a ghost. And at the end there, he finds his peace. Even though he's a bloodied ghost from the way he died, he finds the peace he sought. Because you could tell by his posture, he's relaxed. He's just cleaning his glasses. And he
doesn't feel the strain of other people's pain anymore.
Yeah.
It's just his own.
He found some level of peace. Now, we don't know if he moved on or not, which is fine. Only one knowing moving on is important in this movie, and we get that in the final scenes. And then Tony Shalhoub watches him sacrifice it all, and he cares. Because at that point, in his broken nature, even though he was ready to beat the crap out of him earlier out of a fit of why are you doing this to us? He cares that Dennis just sacrificed himself for him. And then, of course, then his wife is there. And that's the core of his character. He is a man who is adrift. He has not recovered from the death of his wife. In fact, he's so broken that he's not being a bad dad. He's trying so hard to be a good dad. And that's the other heart of this movie, because this is 2001. The term good dad movie doesn't exist yet. We have created that term in the past 5 or 6 years as we've watched dads be torn down by modern cinema and modern entertainment in the West here. At the heart, it's still even though he's a broken man and he's not being the best father at times, he still is a good dad and he's trying. He still loves his kids and he's ready to sacrifice himself to save his children. And that's important. But at the same time, and which is required because of Dennis's last minute intervention there, giving him, do this, save your kids, but do it without killing yourself. Because then I like it. He's a mathematician, so he can see patterns, and he's able to count out. They don't hold, like you said, they're not holding your hand. They're not saying, "Oh, you don't hear an inner monologue." 1, 2, 3. You don't hear him going through it, but you realize through the excellent physical exposition, the emoting through Tony Shalhoub, he's counting the pattern with the machine as that half a second where it's all flat, and he can get in there. And it's just it's so well done that it had been properly set up. He's a man who understands numbers and equations and patterns, and he's now going to use his basic knowledge to save his kids. And then when it jumps in there, it's not like he can get out; they're trapped. So it's just, hold on tight. I'm going to shelter you the best I can as a good dad. And then, of course, housekeeper, black lady, ends up just messing the whole thing up even more. But then of course during that, Cyrus, now after the reveal of Cyrus gets his just desserts, what do you think about Cyrus, the ghost turning on Cyrus? I thought that's pretty well oriented. It's like they know who was responsible for this.
Yeah, no one likes to be enslaved, and as they properly exposited throughout the film, he needed that other guy's spell specifically to control the ghost, because the machine could be built, but how do you make the ghost stand on their marks? Well, you need to be able to control the ghost, and that control was broken throughout all of this. So I think it makes sense, especially with the Jackal, the Juggernaut, and all of them. They are chaos incarnate. They don't want to be enslaved to anything. No one does, but them specifically, it makes perfect sense at the moment that control that they set up was broken. They turn on.
Yep, and
we didn't need a line. They didn't need a line of one of the kids saying, "Hey, they turned on their master when he let go of the leash," or some awful shit like that.
And you didn't, and this is another, I think, an excellent choice movie. You didn't need any dialogue from a single ghost the entire movie. Their physical natures, their emoting, their physical behavior tells you everything you need to know, and you didn't need them to go, "Oh, we've got you now. Oh, you trapped us." They didn't need to ham it up. It's just the excellent shot of him going, "No, no," and all of them just looming over him and then blipping in and out as they carry him and then throw him into the machine just to get literally chopped into pieces, for lack of a better term.
And they hadn't set up that the ghost could make sounds humans could hear at any point. Just with the glasses, you can see them. That was the rule they established. So if they talked at the end without any setup, that would have just been so jarring. But I like the idea where they're separate from our reality, and only through great anger or anything like that, a great effort, they can physically affect the real world a little bit, but they can't talk with it. They can't be seen by it without the additional aids. Maybe there's more technology that could make you hear a ghost, but yeah, I like the mysticism aspect of it, where they're never quite there, and their voices would have changed that.
And you said it earlier, the movie does a great job of setting up the rules of this world with the magic and the mysticism, the demonic stuff, all that kind of stuff, and it then executes it beautifully, where until that final moment where they're all locked into place on the runes around the circle, they blip in and out. And it's just, it's a constant psychedelic type of thing where you can't really see these things if you don't have the glasses on. And even when you do,
the glasses aren't perfect.
Yeah, they still blip in and out. So I think the entire world building of this, like you said, is executed tightly. It doesn't.
It's such a short amount of time. The movie's not a long movie.
Hour 35
minutes. We get so much from it. And I fully believe that there is a full universe out there of mysticism and magic. And it doesn't feel like something we talk about a lot. And like with Equilibrium, for example, we feel like the world outside of where these events are taking place doesn't exist. But with this one, it gave me more than enough to realize there are rules, there are other things going on, and it felt like a real three-dimensional, vivid place, which is difficult to do in an hour and a half. TV shows struggle with that.
Yeah. And it comes off, and I think it is akin to the fact that the cast performed well, immensely well in some cases, like with Tony Shalhoub, Matthew Lillard, and when he was on screen, F. Murray Abraham. And then, like you said, the story's just locked in. It's not, there's no secondary, this is what, you know what's worse? There's a secondary agenda. This is just a movie about family, love, loss, coping, grief. But it's all wrapped up tightly within the narrative of the movie. And even at the end, with the final moments, the ghosts, when they're all free, 11 of the 12, they flip back in. They just leave. They see them walking away, and then poof, they're gone. But then you see that the wife is healed because she's set free and she's ready to pass on. And at the same time, that's the closure that family needed. So they could see her one more time to hear her say, "I love you." She's the only one that has a voice. She is the only ghost that has a voice, and they only hear it when it comes through the radio. And at the end there, when she says, "I love you guys so much," and they say, "We love you too," and then and that's the closure they needed. And then the movie ends on a joke, but that's fine, because I think that's fine because one, it's I think they did it on purpose. Look, the black person didn't die. One. Also, she had no story arc.
She was just there.
She was just there to have her be there. But to have her be like, that's it, I'm done these crazy white people, I'm out of here, I'm going home to wherever I came from. And then it just ends. And I think it's a good way just to end the movie. We don't need a happy epilogue or anything like that. We just know that these people have, we got enough to know they've mentally healed from the trauma, the grief of their mother and wife passing. And Tony Shalhoub, with that, has reaffirmed that he wants to just be a good dad. He's not going to sacrifice his life because then he can't leave his kids by themselves. And the kids don't need an arc because we don't even know how old Shannon Elizabeth is as a character in this. We assume she's college age. That's what I assume because she's at least 18, 20. But, you know, they're troubled. So she has to stay there to help out. But it's
a modern movie would have had a romance between her and Matthew Lillard's character
crammed in there.
Yeah. Or a storyline with the babysitter somehow having personal problems as well.
Yeah.
But this movie knew it needed to be tight and it kept to that. And I like the idea of the nanny, the way that she's integrated in her small way, because Cyrus could never have predicted that she would have come with them. She was never part of his plan. She's not incentive for the 13th Ghost.
Wow.
She's not the 13th Ghost. They win because Cyrus failed to predict that people would care for
I didn't
things
realize
other than
that.
familiar bonds or romantic bonds or anything like that. He didn't predict that this lady would be like, dude, you got a house? I want to see that house. That emotion is what brought Cyrus down.
Dude, I didn't realize that. Good find. I didn't realize that her X factor was what, I mean, we talked about it, that she's the one that after she got knocked out by other hunter chick, they left her there. They forgot about her because she wasn't part of the plan. And when forgotten about, she's the one that screws it all up by messing with the spell casting recording. And that's what dude, excellent grab. I totally missed that. Excellent grab.
You know, I think she's the only reason that they won. The only reason Cyrus didn't win. And I fully see it as Cyrus. He's not good with humans. He's not good with personal relationships. And he understands clearly familiar bonds and romantic bonds enough to manipulate people because they're things that people talk about. But he's never going to predict a friend just being like, yo, that's cool. I want to go too.
Yeah. And because we already saw it, in the confrontation between Tony Shalhoub and Ephraim Abraham, he beats the crap. Tony Shalhoub tries to fight, but he's a mathematician. He's not a fighter. Even juiced by righteous dad energy, Ephraim Abraham, he's a killer. He has it in him to kill, and he beats the shit out of him. And he's about to force him to go sacrifice yourself to save your kids. You only have one choice now. You can't beat me. You might as well just do it. And he almost does it until she messes with the recording. This is why you're good. You got it. I missed it. It didn't click. It did not click.
It's a well set up, it's subtle, well set up reason that a villain failed. It doesn't feel contrived. And it doesn't feel like a sudden lapse in his intelligence. They're not like, oh, the super genius guy who set up all this stuff and planned all this stuff. He was an idiot for two. Yeah, it was a legitimate blind spot.
Yeah, and it makes sense the way you put it out. This is not a man who gets people. He knows how to manipulate people, but he doesn't understand friendship. And that's how got it. And that's great. That's great. And it's a great way to end it because I got nothing else to say. Got anything else you want to add?
There's one last thing I want to highlight before we get into final thoughts and scoring is near the beginning of the film, right after the prologue, when we're introduced to Tony's character, we get this beautiful one shot. The cinematography in this movie is great, but that one shot where they show his kids in the backyard playing, the pan over to him looking out the window, smiling at them, and then the room slowly becomes the tattered apartment, and you hear the screams and the fire in the background until it comes to him just miserable and broken. I couldn't tell the cuts in that. I don't know if it's multiple takes that they stitched together. It was seamless. And they might have done it in camera, which is absolutely insane. So that shot, that was the moment where I'm like, all right, I like this movie. I want to know where it goes. And that's the moment that got me invested because I saw real talent. I mean, the prologue had some interesting stuff. I'm like, all right, this world building is interesting with the cages and the sidekicks and all of that stuff. And they got me curious about the world building. But that moment is when I realized talented people made this movie, so it's probably going to be a good movie.
Yep.
And I don't know if you noticed that one shot, but that one shot immediately impressed me.
Oh, I noticed it. Not, I just don't. It doesn't. I don't look at it the same way you do. I recognize that's a very well done shot to go from serenity to sorrow.
And just from a writing standpoint, like the exposition in there, getting that the wife died in a fire, all through contextual voiceover work. Yeah, I thought it was phenomenal. Again, I don't know if it was done with multiple cuts stitched together or in one take, but either way, it was very well done.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. This is I guess to go into my my final thoughts. As you said earlier, I agree that this is a movie with very few flaws. It's a tight hour 35 minutes, hour and a half. Well cast, well acted. Amazing prosthetics on the ghosts, and solid world building with only a few minor problems. Like I said, we don't know Cyrus's full villainous design. I mean, of course, you can infer because of who he is to see the past, present, future. He would use that for ill deeds, but why? Why? It's a little thing. Because it's a short movie with so little time. Like you said, certain character relationships are left by the wayside, especially on the villain side. But there's enough there with the arc of Dennis, Matthew Lillard's character, and Tony Shalhoub's character that they go through these mini arcs, and the movie properly understood. Let's get the kids out of there. They're taking time away from the more important characters. They're there as a prop anyway to spur him forward. Either way, it's a movie that tightly deals with the ideas of sorrow, grief, loss, how you deal with it, but also true love. And when I say true love, I don't just mean for a partner, but for your children. Unrequited, self-sacrifice love. And then, of course, redemption, because Dennis finds redemption for what he does. And it's a nice movie. And I was surprised, as I said, I didn't remember, every other time I saw it, I didn't really care for it or really enjoy it. But doing a full watch with the intent of talking about it, I actually enjoyed this movie. I had a good time watching it. So I give it a 7.5, 7.5 out of 10. How you feeling?
Well, I really like this movie. Like I said at the beginning, I went into this with relatively negative expectations. I wasn't
my fault.
I'd enjoy.
It was my fault. I painted it inaccurately.
There was that aspect of it, and I just never heard of it. So I was like, all right, is it really that popular? Do people care about it? And it's hilarious. The Rotten Tomatoes score is like 20%. So that really tells you how reliable critics are. But yeah, this movie is just so solid. There are things that could have been explained better, like the villain arcs and everything like that. There was more information that we could have used, but there's nothing that I would really call a plot hole or a flaw. Like all those things, Cyrus's story still makes sense without his motivations. Yeah. It's not a plot hole that his motivation wasn't included, but it would have improved the quality of the movie. This is just a solid, good movie that you won't waste your time watching. I will gladly rewatch it. It's not going to be a regular thing or anything like that. This isn't going to be an Alien situation where it's one of my new favorite movies, but it's a movie that I will remember fondly. And there's so much talent in it from the cast. I don't know the main character as well as you from other things like Monk. I mainly know him from Spy Kids, which is a very different role to this one.
Tony Shalhoub is a massively talented actor. He really got his major start on the show Wings, playing a cab driver, a foreigner cab driver. But he has range, he has depth. So I enjoy Tony Shalhoub as an actor, very versatile. So he's one of the things that makes me interested in this movie. And like you said, this is a movie that if it's on, you're not going to turn it off if you find it on.
No.
You'll leave it on.
Yeah. And so he's impressed me. I never really knew or thought much of him beyond the Spy Kids movies. So he really impressed me. Matthew Lillard, I've never seen the Scooby-Doo movies. I've actually only ever seen him in Five Nights at Freddy's. And he was briefly in that. So I've never really seen him at his heights. And this was a great performance. This makes me invested in him as an actor. And everybody else did a good enough job. So this movie, it's just packed with talented people doing good basic things. They nailed all the basic stuff. So I have to give this movie a 6.5 out of 10.
It's fair. That is fair. All right. And that concludes our spooky season coverage. We got through it. I think we did a better job this year than we did last year. I was more invested this year. I tried this year. I don't think I tried last year at all. All right. We're into November next week. So what do you have planned for me?
Well, there's a few options of what we could do. There's nothing contextual that I could figure out. I think it was just time with the movie going into production, with all the news surrounding it. I need to watch the original. I think it's time that we check out the original Sean Connery Highlander film.
Ooh, I got it right there. You got to watch the director's cut.
Director's cut. Okay.
Let me see. What I got right here is I've got the 30th anniversary edition. Now this is director's cut. Now here's the thing. You got to understand, Highlander. It's a great movie, but it's messy. But this honestly, the star of the movie is Queen's soundtrack. It's a Kind of Magic. That's the star of the movie. It is. And listen, we're gonna have. I will go into all the Highlander lore next week because there is so. Just a preview. You've heard me say this before. This is a messy franchise. It's got 5 different timelines, and they all start here, and none of them are. This movie branches out. There's no canon timeline. That's the problem. It's a lot of it's great. Some of it is absolute shit. But this movie is a classic. It's fun. I remember the first time I saw it as a kid, and I'll tell the story again next week. I didn't understand what I was watching. It was a family movie night. I didn't understand that Christopher Lambert's Connor McLeod, that it was one person. I thought it was 2 different people with the time skips. I didn't my little kid brain didn't comprehend it, and my parents didn't explain it to me. So I had to get it. But you got Clancy Brown, Sean Connery as a Scottish Egyptian. It's fantastic. It's glorious. But I think we'll have a good discussion. I don't know if you're gonna love it, but we're gonna have a fun discussion. I do love the Highlander franchise. Maybe it'll spur you to then watch the entire Highlander TV series. It's a good watch.
Maybe
good watch. The world. I'll save it now. Anyway.
I just want good Scottish content besides Braveheart.
Christopher Lambert, actually, you wouldn't know he's a Frenchman because he does pull off the Scottish accent decently in the first part of the movie. By the end of the movie, but modern Connor, his accent's all muddled, but it's not done on purpose. Anyway, all right, guys. So next week, Highlander. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We hope you had a good time. A little earlier, we'll be back next week at 6 p.m. Eastern. Until then, take it easy. Have a good rest of your afternoon and evening. Goodbye, everybody.